the outbreak of a mystery virus in China that now has the World Health Organization on edge.
People have lost their lives.
Now the Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus.
Thousands more are fighting for their lives.
We're at a point where we're seeing a rapid international spread, as one would anticipate with a virus like this.
This is their new hoax.
Well, in Italy, nearly 800 people have died within the last 24 hours.
So does anybody have any question?
December 31st, 2019, the ending of a decade, the beginning of a new era of uncertainty. Wuhan, China was alarmed of 59 new cases of a mysterious virus which had symptoms of fever, dry cough, and difficulty breathing. This became known as COVID-19.
Coronaviruses are a family of viruses that are very common. They cause the common cold. It's very rare to die from the common cold virus, but this one looks like it has a lethality somewhere between 0.5 and several percent.
Once a joke became a crisis in places like Italy and China, where they have implemented restrictions to reduce the spread. With over 200,000 cases in the United States, we begin to ask ourselves, how afraid should we be?
My name is Andre Margitas. I'm an account manager. I'm 27 years old. I just recently recovered from COVID-19 coronavirus. When I first heard of coronavirus, my first idea of it all was that it's probably being blown out of proportion a little bit. It was prior to it, kind of spreading through Europe. And I thought to myself, this can't be as serious as they're making it seem.
This fast-spreading virus began in a food market in Wuhan, China, where wild live animals were sold illegally for human consumption.
This virus originated probably in the wet markets of Wuhan, and then locally, and then immediately we're able to get it all around the world very quickly. We have to rethink how China does these wet markets, because this is what's called a zoonotic infection, but it's an animal-acquired virus. Potentially concentrate the effects of these viruses is by having these wet markets and the ability for it to spread from animals to people. We have to rethink about that, how we do things.
When China first recognized the virus, it was coincidentally days before Chinese New Year, where an estimated 2 billion people travel worldwide to celebrate.
A few weeks, we have witnessed the emergence of a previously unknown pathogen, which has escalated into an unprecedented outbreak and which has been met by an unprecedented response.
As the world has become more globalized, it's a lot easier for viruses to spread because borders aren't restricted. People travel all over the world and they can do it very easily.
This prompted the World Health Organization to declare a global health emergency.
Our greatest concern is the potential for the virus to spread to countries with weaker health systems and which are ill prepared to deal with it.
In response, the Trump administration suspended entry from China. However, this did not stop the spread into the United States.
The fact that I started feeling symptoms, and I have a 8-week-old son now. So I had initially thought that I just got a common cold or a regular flu, but I still wanted to be precautious due to the fact that he's so young. The very next morning I went to urgent care. They confirmed that I just have a common cold. It was nothing serious. 4 days prior to this, I was at a gathering to where I shook hands with an old friend of mine that I haven't seen in a couple of months. And later that night when I got home from urgent care, he had posted a video stating that he had been positive for coronavirus.
A small town in Italy called Codogno took swift cautionary measures when their patient Zero, a young man, was infected with the virus. The entire population in nearby towns were instructed to only leave their houses if absolutely necessary. Just 3 weeks later in Codogno, the virus is almost completely gone with an exception of a few cases each day. Italy took this action in order to flatten the curve.
Flatten the curve.
Flattening the curve.
We must flatten this curve.
In other words, reduce the number of people that die.
Imagine thousands of drones hovering overhead, dropping glitter. You know how hard glitter is to get off of clothing and faces? When you got home, you can't get it off. You still see glimmers after you wash it, correct? Think about the glitter as the coronavirus.
The curve refers to the projected number of people to be infected over a period of time. A flattened curve means a slower rate of infection, which results in a better healthcare system with fewer hospital visits. When there's a quick increase in cases, hospitals become overwhelmed and resources become scarce. To flatten the curve, proactive measures must be taken into place.
You contact another person you have the ability to spread that virus to them. It's what's known as droplet precaution. You want to not cough or sneeze on them.
Excuse me. You know, you're supposed to cough into your elbow. I don't know, sir. I learned that actually covering your White House.
Actually, that's true, but fortunately I'm alone in my home, but that's okay.
But even still, with the flu, if you look at how many people get infected per index case of flu, it's about 1.3 to 1.4 people. After 10 iterations, you really only have about 15 people after that initial one person who've gotten the flu. Now, triple that or quadruple the number of people who will contract coronavirus from that single contact, about 50,000 people.
You, as a viewer, might know this, but have you been doing it?
We have a positive case today from someone who attended a coronavirus party. And this is the part where I, the person that tell everybody to be calm, have to remain calm myself.
If I get corona, I get corona. At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me from partying.
Easter is our timeline. What a great timeline that would be.
We make a decision to say, hey, you know, I'm going to go on a party with all my friends on the beach, or I'm going to go to the bar or the club. Is a huge risk we're taking because we don't know what that's going to lead to. It's hard to say, hey, stay inside, but at the same time, if we're taking that risk, we don't know what our responsibility actually is when it's all said and done.
The United States has the opportunity to stop the spread. However, we don't have testing in places where it's most needed. This results in not being able to properly track how many people have the virus and how fast it's spreading.
Once my friend had confirmed that he had coronavirus and I interacted with him and I was sick, I started pursuing trying to get professional medical help from a hospital and so on and so forth. I reached out to the CDC. I was on hold with them for about 48 minutes until an entry-level employee picked up the phone and told me to use hand sanitizer that's alcohol-based.
One of the problems is this country chose to go another way with the WHO tests to develop their own test, and that was a mistake because we didn't stockpile enough tests.
As my symptoms progressed, I went ahead and started calling different hospitals left and right. And, my initial interaction with the hospitals were that I should go there. I had, like a front desk lady picked up and she was like, don't come here, you're going to get everybody sick. Why would you want to do that? You're managing your own symptoms. Stay home. And I don't know anything about coronavirus, and you're telling me you're not going to help me.
Because every test that you do in medicine, it doesn't matter what kind of test it is, has components of it called sensitivity and specificity. A specific test means that if you have the virus, it identifies that you have the virus. You don't want the test to have a false positive. You want it to definitely identify, yeah, you have coronavirus.
Eventually, after maybe a total of anywhere from 10 to 15 phone calls, 9 different hospitals, I was able to speak to the emergency nurse line who said that she thinks it's only fair that I know this information.
People are taking advantage of this crisis to pump out these tests, which may not be reliable or accurate tests.
This brings up the question, how afraid should we be? Well, there's no simple answer to this.
The important thing that I think everybody should know is that there's not very many answers. And I know that doesn't sound like it's helpful because you're asking for answers, but that's the scary part of it, right? We don't know what's going on. We don't know how this affects certain people. You see certain people dropping like flies, and you see certain people that are recovering fully like I did.
Look at the papers. Look at what's going on in TV. There are doctors on the front lines who are dying of this. People who put their lives on the line to help people out. These people are dying.
If we take the individual responsibility to flatten the curve, we may be able to limit the spread.
Practice social isolation until it looks like it's safe not to, and I'm not sure when that's going to be. It could be weeks, it could be a month, it could be 2 months or 3 months. Right now, we're in a very steep growth curve of this virus. We're in the steepest part of the growth curve. It's going to be in the millions who are affected, and the mortality could be 100,000, 200,000 people in this country. That's in this country alone, not just the world.
Following guidelines placed by officials, taking your own precautionary measures, and keeping calm can make this a better and shorter experience for us all. You might have fears today, but with a few days of social distancing, you will be able to save lives.
And then, of course, we can't just go back to normal again after this is all over. I think we're going to have to really think long and hard about how we screen for viruses and how we're prepared for them once they do. Because, you know what, there's going to be a COVID-20, there's going to be a COVID-22, there will be a COVID-28. These viruses are not going to go away. Everything is going to be changed as a result of this. The world's not going to be the same place.
We as individuals have a public health responsibility to stay inside and practice good hygiene. If you do these things, you will lower your risk of getting the virus as well as others. They will thank you for making the right choice.